There we go.
There we go.
Welcome to week 3 of CFBHC College Game Day. This is Tuscan Soda here, joined along with Clem and Imposter Coster. And so, any thoughts, at least on the game day matchup right before we go into the Thursday night football games? Like, y'all excited or what?
I am super pumped. This is probably one of my favorite matchups so far.
Say the same myself. How about you, Clem?
I'm excited. I mean, yeah, I don't know if it'll match up to the hype. I think Oregon's got a pretty good handle on this game, but Pacheco and Wilcox can make any game interesting.
All right. Thank you for that. And now let's go on to Thursday night football games. A quick recap. We've got Oregon State and Colorado State. Showdown in Fort Collins, or at least I think it's Fort Collins.
Yeah.
41-14.
Well, this is the first we've seen of Colorado State due to some weird scheduling errors. But Devin Conroy out of the gate proving he doesn't need Jeremy Scarborough or a top-flight receiver. Scattering the ball everywhere, gets two different receivers 100 yards apiece, 4 touchdowns. Fantastic game from the stud. And the defensive report, too. Got a pick 6 from Muhammad Latham and a couple more interceptions from Evan Hicks and Daniel Hall. And let's not forget the second half from Keith Smith. Just an overall fantastic performance to get out of the gate.
Oregon State has been struggling pretty much since their existence, and that struggle continues into 2019. We have a quarterback who throws 54 passes for 235 yards. More interceptions than touchdowns. You're in trouble. I don't know. Does Oregon State even have a coach right now? I don't think they do.
They do.
They do?
Yeah, it's Canes.
Oh. Well, welcome to the site.
I'm sure that Canes will at least be able to get a good idea, or at least a good long-term plan with the Beavers in mind, as long as he stays there. Like, it is a much more downtrodden team. They've had troubled history, but now that there's a coach there, you can hope for the best with them, and he seems to be contributing.
I guess there's a few bright things here. Like, you've got a couple touchdown passes from your quarterback, who admittedly is not that great. There's something on my mic? But yeah, it's not a great start, but as you guys have said, this is a really bad team, I'd say. So just take what you get.
It's a good warm-up game for Colorado State.
There we go. I want you to say they had a very good performance overall from both the offense and the defense, and that's what earned them the win. So now moving on to neutral state game over in Houston at NRG Stadium, we have Rutgers led by the Prophet Moffitt against Boise State, who's had a very interesting case of changes lately. They just switched out the quarterback to Jabari Sneed, a sophomore, and the results were a bit frightening almost.
Yeah, Muffin and Franklin definitely brought the energy to Houston this time. Connecting 6 times for 109 yards and a touchdown. This quarterback receiver can heavily throughout the year. I know a few teams can stop it, but if you're not prepared, you will get burned.
And don't forget the performance by running back Sincere Gordon. Had 104 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground as well. They came at Boise State from every aspect of the offense, and Boise State had no response at all.
Well, that's a sincere performance.
Came at him.
I had to. Okay.
Oh, it's already started.
All right. Okay.
But they came at him on all sides offensively. But let's not forget the defense. Got Robert Dean and Logan Dudley combining for 2 sacks on the sophomore quarterback. So not really the best showing from Boise. They do, however, get a decent performance from Marquise Allen. 111 yards and a touchdown on 26 carries.
And And they did get to Prophet Moffitt twice in the backfield, sacked him a couple times. So I mean, they tried something, but when you quarterback plays as they did, you're not going to have many good chances to win games.
Agreed with that, and I'd say very interesting performance from both sides overall. Rutgers earned a very valuable win for their out-of-conference schedule, and so I think this leads a matchup to a wrap, nearly. I mean, is there anything else we can say?
I do want to point out Rutgers won with a 4.9 offensive line rating. For a Power 5 team, that's a really bad OL rating.
Yeah.
That's not going to work in Big Ten conference play.
Especially with a lot of the big teams that are in the conference. You know, you have Penn State, who just beat Ohio State. You have Michigan, Iowa, Purdue. Those are some very strong teams, and so Rutgers is going to have to, improve on that offensive line.
Definitely.
There we go.
All right.
Next up, we got. Sorry. Anyone else want to say it?
Yeah, I got you. We have Akron coming from MAC to take on Utah in Salt Lake City. The Utes coming off a crushing defeat in Raleigh 2 weeks ago. Akron suffering the same feat last week. Anyways, Donald Culver looking a little better this time. 27-45, 309 yards and 3 touchdowns. And the Utes really put this game away early. Out of lead, took it for a 28-16 game. And this Akron offense is just a mess. 2 picks from Zamora and a fumble from Ruff. That's not going to win you games at all.
Especially on the road.
Oh, yeah. Especially on the road against a Power 5 team.
Sorry, I'm having an issue at least getting to the page for some reason, so there isn't much I can comment unless we want to take a look at the box score. Let's see. For Akron and Utah, fourth quarter, not much happened. So, okay, there we go.
Not much happened in the fourth except for
A very good.
more Akron misery.
Yeah, no, turnover after turnover, Jaden Boykin, reception, and then there we go. Sorry about that.
But one note here, though, and this kind of goes back to Rutgers. Utah won with a 5.2 O-line rating, which is actually worse than Akron's.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's not going to fly at all.
Utah is very much a program trying to rebuild itself. And I think that shows up most in the offensive line performance in a 5.2 rating at home against a MAC team. It's going to show you're going to struggle all year.
To be fair, though, Marlon Bailey is a really nice kid. That guy's got some talent. Anyone else have anything to comment there?
Okay,
No?
maybe this will be better. Third down efficiency for Akron and Utah. Utah, for a Power 5 team, they had a 33% third down efficiency, which against Akron is a decent G5 team, but this is a bit of concern, at least for Utah, with that third down efficiency, in my opinion.
Decent's being a bit nice. I wouldn't quite call them decent.
All right, well.
Okay. Utah really won this game off the back of these turnovers.
Yeah.
If Zamora doesn't throw those 2 picks, maybe this is a closer game. Which, I'm not saying it isn't close. 12 points is awfully close, especially considering the struggles Akron's had in the past couple of years.
Alrighty then. Yeah, that's all I have to say, at least for this matchup right now. Onward to Washington State. I better see that flag, Abe, by the way. Indiana State
On top.
traveled all the way to Pullman and got whooped. That's really what happened here. David Oates threw for 337 yards, 2 touchdowns, including a very nice pass to Eric Krause to start off the beginning of the matchup. And the guy is pretty much going through the air very well. Washington State, good.
Oates is feeling it nice for Raul. This is a very nice performance here. 337 yards, 2 touchdowns. 2 really nice passes to Krause and Cook. And Jeremy Cook's one of those receivers that I'd say is a little underrated, perhaps. Don't hear his name all that often.
He's a 5 out of 5 senior, right?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, I don't think anyone really knows about him.
Huh.
Well, here he is, guys. Looked good in San Diego State.
No.
Can't forget about Andrew Butts getting 72 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground, and having the best name.
Yeah, Butts managed to do decently. Those touchdowns were a 5-yard touchdown run and a 3-yard touchdown run, so a very good way to get right into the end zone for Butts.
Very much so.
Yeah.
But San Diego State still had a few bright spots here. He had 2 sacks combined between Tonu Maipea and Abel.
All right.
Abel. And,
Very well done.
and then Andrew Lilly 108 yards and a touchdown on the ground. But they need more out of a quarterback here. I know Bellamy's a pretty nice talent. They've got I think it's obvious the system's not exactly working.
I believe he's a true freshman, or redshirt freshman. He's very inexperienced.
I'm sure he played last year.
Maybe I'm wrong.
You just keep talking. I'm going to look at this.
Okay.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I think part of the problem with Bellamy in the passing game is that, as far as I can tell, he doesn't really have any decent targets to throw to. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I know he's individually not playing well, but if he doesn't have anyone to throw to, it's hard for a quarterback to come up big.
Mhm.
His best targets out there are Nicholas Jones and Edwin McGinnis, both 3.5, 3.5s, and he is a true sophomore. 3 of 4 scrambling, too.
Yeah. San Diego State had a phenomenal JUCO last season that I'd say helped him out pretty well, at least when Pump took the reins. He started to go off. I can't remember the name, but I know that they had a JUCO because I was going for him this season before.
Okay.
Just saying. Relevancy, I guess. Onward to Arkansas and West Virginia, or
Yes, this game. I like this game.
this game? Yeah. And okay, Arkansas decided to run it a few times this week after a very interesting performance last time.
That may have come back to bite him here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I definitely think when you take the ball out of Sean Sitton's hands and put it into DeAndre Barber's hands, you're doing your offense a disservice.
Mm-hmm.
Just rely on the Chambers connection, and that offense will score. More proof here. 109 yards and a touchdown from Chambers, making up roughly a third of Sitton's passing yards. But
I'd say that's roughly a third right there. Tyron Chambers definitely performed well for the Arkansas air raid.
But there's another disservice here on that offense, and that is that offensive line.
Oh, wow.
They do not look good at all here. Took a sack from Messiah Bernard. What is with all these religious names on West Virginia? This is the third one on the stat sheet.
Dang, this is.
Yeah, that's.
I'm gonna try to not call out Art on this because I know that my words will not be relevant in a season or two. So.
Yeah.
But.
It's going to be a work in progress, and I think this is fair to say this is a well-deserved result. But Foster looked decent in the air. Real story here is probably Mustafa on the ground. 3 touchdowns and 99 yards off of 20 carries. That's making an impact.
Has J.C. Weldon done that much in West Virginia? He's the most high-profile transfer we've ever had. He had 5 catches for 80 yards in this game, but I don't think he's had his touchdown yet, does he?
He has not had a touchdown
He
yet.
is not. I think I'd argue that J.C. Weldon's still getting used to the West Virginia offense. He didn't really perform that well during his first game, and this one he's doing a little bit better. Like he's only 8 yards behind Jason Dupree, but in fact we know that Weldon he's gonna have to go off eventually. Like it's gonna happen. We just don't know when.
He'll ease into it.
All right.
One more thing, these 2 interceptions, crucial to West Virginia's win here. The first one really just nullified anything that happened in the first quarter. The second one came in the fourth, Satan trying to bring it back to a score. So 2 well-timed interceptions and a well-timed win for West Virginia.
West Virginia. Yeah, no, those interceptions definitely changed the way the game went in this case. Like, where'd it go? I thought Sean had 2 picks. Oh wait, no,
Yeah.
that's the second. Yeah, that first quarter pick, I'd say not really much happened, but in the fourth quarter, it kind of just denied Arkansas the opportunity of a comeback to go from there. West Virginia, with 8 minutes left, picked it off, and then 3 minutes later they ran it into the end zone.
Well, throwing an interception in the first quarter kind of interrupts your rhythm, and I think that kind of might have thrown the offense off a little bit.
All right.
Yeah, it's very likely.
I guess
And
so.
that is likely the case as well as in our next game. A&M going to Charlottesville to take on Virginia. And it was interceptions galore, I should say.
Yeah.
There from both McClelland and Rook.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like a very defeated game, despite coming out victorious.
We won, but I think the biggest issue Rook had in his career is interceptions. And in the first 2 games, he had 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and then came into this game and threw 2 of them. So it's not the performance I'd like to see out of my quarterback.
That's completely understandable. He has looked a bit better in that regard, especially going up against Nevada's and Maryland's defense, which I'd argue are much better than A&M's.
Yeah.
So it could be an anomaly, maybe.
I do want to say something. We don't have stats so far, so I can't confirm this. But I believe Virginia is the only team with 4 players over 150 receiving yards each. Because I've only had 4 guys make the stat sheet receiving every game. It's the same 4 guys, and they're all at 150 plus.
4 different players.
Yeah.
Talk about throwing the ball around. Mateo Rook is doing very well with that. Props to you, Clem.
I think every game we've had a different top receiver.
This one happens to be Jonathan Greer, 102 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, I went after the linebackers hard.
Very, very nice. It is going very well in Charlottesville for the Cavaliers.
Yes.
Very nice win. Cameron Falk with the pick 6. That was pretty good, too.
True freshman, Cameron Falk.
There you go. And then start off the game. Talk about throwing off a team's rhythm, or at least confidence with that. McClellan did not do well at all.
And about 10 minutes later, strong safety Brunfield intercepted McClellan again. So in the first quarter, we really pounced on the Aggie offense. I think that's kind of threw them off.
Yeah, I'd 100% say that. McClellan looked tricky throughout the game. Only 18 of 33. Did get 209 yards, but just a very, very poor performance.
I think last week we had 300 plus passing yards. Sorry, did really well, and this week we just kind of shut them down.
Alrighty then. No, it's a very good defensive matchup. Virginia really held the lead, and y'all were almost able to shut them out, but Elias Butler managed to just sneak into the end zone to at least put them on the scoreboard. But by that point, I would consider garbage time. So
Yeah. Yep. Butler was meh in this one, but that's kind of been his
Yeah, that's who he is.
legacy at AM. And that's what's really going to make this a struggle for the Aggies.
mhm. Should we move on?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. I also want to take a highlight to the game day signs that I see already. Storm Stopper and Cade put out some very good ones. I'm really interested in seeing what else the community has as well. Now back to Evanston, Illinois, with a very close matchup. New head coach Carl 345 earns his first win on the sim, 17-16 over Saluna in, I guess, both teams' second matchup.
Yes. What a first win indeed. And it came down to the final seconds. Amir Johns with a 33-yard field goal to give the Cougars the final win. But it wasn't a pretty one, to say the least. Charles Anderson and Jeremy Minor wreaked havoc on the Wildcats. E.J. McGuire really unable to get anything going in this one. It's a game you'd expect to go in BYU's favor, but it was a lot closer than I probably would have anticipated.
Well, I don't know that's necessarily the case. BYU isn't very good. They've lost a lot of talent the last couple of seasons to the NFL and haven't really replaced it in recruiting. So BYU is a shell of its former self, especially defensively.
Yeah, defensively, doesn't really seem difficult to tell. The offensive line's too decent. Third down efficiency for both teams, I wouldn't say it's similar. BYU was nearly around 50%, a little bit less than 50%, and Northwestern had about 33. With that, penalties were kind of going all over the place. BYU had 8 for 58 yards, but Northwestern had 9 penalties. So both teams, I think, will need to fix that up. And here's a defensive player named AAU. Anyone see that? Anyone else?
Yeah, for Northwestern.
Yeah.
That's got to be the greatest name we've ever seen.
I love it. Eat your heart out, Andrew Butts.
But sucks.
So you're gonna eat at his. All right.
No. Oh.
Kidding. You know what? I'm gonna shut it now. Sorry. So.
Phrasing.
Let's move on. Dustin is not professional today.
Last one on the block is a MAC showdown. The Rockets of Toledo going to Northern Illinois. It was a thriller of a game last year. Not so much this year.
I think we're definitely seeing a changing of the guard in the MAC West. Toledo just wrecked Northern Illinois.
Yeah. Huskies really missing both Andrew Davis and their old coach in Laser Cats, along with a few other pieces. Dwayne Curry doesn't seem to have man for the job right now. It's 3 lackluster performances in 3 games.
And I believe the Huskies head coach has said he will be benched.
Yes, he has indeed stated that. For the Rockets, Benjamin Hansen is as hyped as Defs made it. Only missing 6 passes today, 280 yards and 2 touchdowns. The defense is really stepped up. You get 3 sacks combined between Shire Reader and Dwayne Montgomery. Get an interception from Isaiah Bull and a pick 6 from Adam Haywood, who was lights out last year as well. Toledo's looking dangerous.
Yeah. I don't know if anyone in the MAC right now can beat them.
Toledo does, in fact, look dangerous. Gonna shut up again soon. I'd say that CPO has definitely put up a really good team during the time that he's there. So
He's recruited well, and he's starting to reap the benefits of it. All right. And also, penalties were a thing in this one as well. Roughly the same as last game, actually.
Yeah, 17 total.
Mm-hmm. Refs are having
Actually, and Northern Illinois have the same amount of penalties as Northwestern and the same amount of penalty yards. That's not eerie at all. Okay, so that's all of the Thursday games. Do you guys have a player you'd like to highlight in this one?
Let's see.
Oh.
Not Andrew Butts. Taking a look at the stats so far, we had a few good performances. I was very impressed with the Utah defense overall, at least combined. But that's not one player, that's a team. So if you give me a second, I'll make my selection. But anyone else?
Calvin Plum?
You know what? I'm going to be a little homery. I'm going to go true freshman outside linebacker Cameron Falk from the University of Virginia. 5 tackles and a pick 6 to open the game up, set the tone, help us win the game.
Definitely agree. That's a fantastic performance from the true freshman. I'm going to go with David Oates of Washington State. This is a San Diego State defense. It's not terrible, and he kind of made him look silly in this one. 25-39, 337 yards, and 2 touchdowns. It helps having a receiver like Jeremy Cook, but still, that's very impressive from the first-year starter.
All right.
All right, let's go and flip on over to Friday.
Friday. And Friday we shall. Not that many matchups happened Friday evening. I know a lot of, yeah. So.
I have not gotten Friday yet. Here we go.
We have, for the first matchup, Wake Forest and Fresno. I'm just looking at the prep sheet at the moment, but we had very few interesting stat lines overall from both teams, I believe. Ryan Harris, I think is a sophomore, threw for 350 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Ryan Harris and Sam Hiller-Wheaton. It is a combo that I personally think is one of, if not the best in the country. Certainly the best in the group of 5.
Yeah, it's almost hard to stop. I don't know many teams who can really shut it down.
It tore up Iowa 2 weeks ago, and here it is against a much weaker Wake team. I think they actually did less against Wake than they did against Iowa, just from looking at it. But
that's partially due because Wake Forest likes to run, so I think they have a little more possession than Iowa did.
Also true here. With 120 yards and a touchdown from Hiller-Wheaton, his draft stock is lighting up, much like Jeremy Scarborough's. Defense also came to play here. You got an interception from Jordan Meyer and a forced fumble and recovery from Omar McManus. And
probably came on the sack of Milner.
I know, fumble is Cal Palmer.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, so throw in a sack in there as well, and he was just all over the field. No, actually, I think Wake did a decent job considering what I projected in this game. Palmer looked pretty good on the ground, 102 yards and 2 touchdowns. Sans a fumble, it was a good game. Elias Milner struggling through the air. Expect a lot of that. That's going to be Wake's this year.
He's no DSJ.
Not at all. But they, considering the state of this team, they didn't look too bad against a much better Fresno team.
No, it's not a terrible performance on the road, but being a Power 5 team, you should always go into a game like this expected to win. I don't think anyone expected Wake to win.
That's just the state of the program right now. That's due to coaching turnover.
And I think actually their current coach is no longer the coach.
That is correct. I noted that.
Wake Forest?
Yep. Yeah. They are open again. Surprise, surprise.
Get some recruits in there, please. Don't actually. I compete against them. Yeah, there's not much more I have to say on this. Fresno might be good. So they do if you run to Nevada at some point, I believe. Alright, let's move on over to Indiana at Bowling Green. Falcons hosting the Hoosiers, who have been off to a surprisingly good start, and that continued here by way of Timothy Cano on the ground.
Is it Coach Shagan that's there, or is it Wrigley fan? Is it? I think it's
Wrigley fan.
All right, Wrigley. Yeah, they had a. We weren't sure who was gonna be coaching for IU. I think at the very beginning, but Indiana pulled it off. At least a 3-0 start.
Yeah, they're looking good doing it too.
I can't wait for them to hit their conference play and then lose every game.
After giving Michigan a scare, of course.
Well, yeah, they'll lose Michigan by like 4.
And then we'll see the Indiana gold.
Yeah.
Just focusing on this performance in general. Timothy Cano, he's looked pretty good so far. 118 yards, 2 touchdowns in this one. Adrian Rope hasn't been terrible. I don't think he's that great of a quarterback. I know he's only a redshirt sophomore. But
He's definitely improved over last season, that's for sure.
Yeah, there's no. He's not throwing it away as much this year.
No, I don't trust him throwing the ball still. I trust his legs. I don't trust his arm.
He did really well on the ground too. 69 yards and 7 carries. So Indiana's probably going to be a run-first team this year, by the looks of it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they should be at least. It seemed to work well against this Bowling Green team, who shows that phenomenal talent in Brandon Thomas.
Yes. I believe he was preseason All-American.
He was. And he proved it against Arizona State. It's kind of been silent since, though. Right. For the Falcons, not much going on here. William Banks looked poor again. Eddie Connolly.
Yeah.
Looked bad.
Yeah, again.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing new from this Falcons team. And without having a coach well, this is what you expect now.
Right.
Who was their coach last?
It was Dunkelbarger. He left to Arizona State.
Oh, that's right.
Dunkelbarger. Does Bowling Green have a new coach now, or are they coachless at the moment?
They are coaches.
Ooh. Well,
Why would someone not want to coach Brandon Thomas, preseason All-American? I don't know. But let's move on over to Memphis, where we have a couple of teams with coaches here. UCF goes into Tennessee and knocks off the Tigers 28-3. Denoris Jackson looking good. 122 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 25 carries.
showing
Still
them.
what you expect.
Yeah. I don't know if Dwayne. Who was the quarterback for UCF last couple of seasons? I'm trying to remember his name.
Oh,
I know. I can't think of the name right now, but I know who you're talking about.
Jamie Mitchell. Jamie Mitchell.
Yeah. Which,
Yeah, Jamie Mitchell would have played better than Dwayne Bennett this game. Guaranteed. I think UCF is throwing the ball a little too much, to be honest. I think you should give Norris Jackson 30 carries a game. Because especially in the AAC, no one's going to stop him.
yeah. Not many teams can stop Denoris Jackson. So take the ball out of Dwayne Bennett's hands a bit. He didn't look too bad, really.
Just not very good.
Yeah.
yeah.
He didn't turn it over, and he got a couple of touchdown passes.
I believe he's a redshirt freshman, too, so that's
Yeah.
always a good sign, at least as early on, if he's not turning the ball over.
Very, very promising.
Yeah.
For Memphis, really not much going on here. Interception thrown, failed to find the end zone, failed to turn the ball over. Just offensive line couldn't stop anything.
Well, the most production they got was putting the first 3 points on the board. Chase Cornwell in the second quarter. He
And that was
hit
it.
40-yarder. But that's just about it.
I mean, I can say the defense didn't look horrible.
Yeah, I mean, only give 28 points to a better UCF team is not a terrible performance, but when it's matched with that offense, it just doesn't look good.
just. How about Aaron Bonner here, getting an interception and the sack?
Yeah, that's a defensive tackle. So I wonder where his interception came from. Was it a screen pass, or he dropped back in coverage and got that interception?
Tip balls galore.
Hmm.
Alright.
Sorry.
That's all I've gotten here. You guys good?
Yeah, that's not a very interesting game. Next game is very interesting, though.
This one, I want to talk about this one. Charlotte going to the desert to take on UNLV, and hello world, Noel Minor. 26 rushes for 145 yards and 4 touchdowns. The ground game in general, both ground games in general today were really good.
Yeah.
Carter Helms, 130 yards and 3 touchdowns, but Noel Minor clearly stealing the spotlight.
I am avoiding puns to use for the last name, but Minor did very, very good. I'd also argue.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, running backs definitely went off for this game. Charlotte was focusing, I guess, on a more run-oriented offense. Clearly, we know why, with Joshua Head's throwing 2 picks. So
He threw an interception every 1 in 9 passes. That's 11% of his passes were intercepted. So the fewer times he throws, the better.
at this rate, Charlotte's still building their team.
Yeah.
At least, but we do see signs with Carter Helms, who was really the only playmaker in this matchup for the Niners.
I mean, the two running backs combined for 51 carries, 275 yards, and 7 touchdowns. That's insane.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great matchup. This would have been incredibly fun to watch live.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, indeed. I love this game, and the defense has also played really well too. Yeah, a pair of picks from Brian Perry, Scott Snodgrass, but Joe Flores 2 sacks on the night combined with Mark Francis' other sack. Just overall great performance from a struggling UNLV team. I believe that's their 2nd ever win.
Is it?
They were new last year and got a win over the Aztecs.
Wow. What team are you going to win over?
Yes. Overall, just lovely performance from the Rebels.
Yes. Very good performance from the Rebels and their first win of the season overall. So for the people that were visiting Vegas, if they managed to be at the game, it was a good, it was an entertaining matchup. So
Yeah, definitely saw a good show.
they saw a very good show.
Only good shows are fitting in Vegas, people. Alright, from Vegas to Houston we go. The Thundering Herd visiting the Cougars. Both teams...
They're the Thunderherds now.
Oh yeah, the Thunder Herd. This looked like they had a Thunder taken from them in this one. Houston looks to be in a really severe rebuilding mode. But the defense stepped up tonight.
I would say both these teams are rebuilding, so you can't take too much from this matchup, in my opinion.
Yeah. I was going to say there's not much offense to look good against in this one. I mean, you get a couple sacks from Dylan Moses and Elliott Sheets, but Marshall's out of playmakers. They've lost all 3 of them now, and this is kind of what you're going to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Houston, at least, after their offensive changes, or at least their depth chart changes last week, you could see a little bit more production as to what each player's potential is. Like, it's starting to come a little bit together, but you can tell that this team has a ways to go.
Yes, both teams do. I think this is Ahmed Abdul's first decent game as a Cougar.
Yep.
He went 21-34, 206 yards and a touchdown.
19 yards on 5 carries on the ground.
Yes, that too.
That's after a sack, so I mean it's probably 4 carries and probably 20-something yards before the sack.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's a decent performance from him. had a little bit of help from Zaire Tolliver, not much, but yeah, there's really not much.
Did you call him Zaire? It's clearly Zaire.
Zaire, is it Zaire?
Yeah.
The A is before the I, so it's Zaire.
Zaire, please.
Zaire. Zaire. Hey, Shoutbox, help us decide how to pronounce Zaire's name, or Zaire.
Zaire.
It's your Zaire-ness.
Al Zaire from Assassin's Creed, Houston Cougars.
I don't know.
I will not play that game because it'd be very, very buggy.
Alright.
Next matchup?
Yeah.
Well, quick, both teams did poorly on third down. So I think that's why we saw low scores, because neither team could convert third downs and keep drives alive.
Ooh.
Are you surprised?
No, not at all.
Damn it.
I hope you're not.
Oh, Zaire is Zaire.
Zaire?
Someone has answered it for us. It is.
Who did?
It is a fucking country, and it's Zaire.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a country in Africa.
Give me a country in Africa. Oh, the DRC. Completely forgot about that. Moving on, please. Oh. All right.
Thank you, Selena.
Guys, I'm out of beer.
I have plenty in the fridge if you want some.
Share, please.
I'll take one.
All right.
SMU
Have a
hosting.
few thousand miles.
Yeah, I'll do it. If it's good enough, I'll do it.
All right. Let's see what I got. We do have UTEP and at SMU, though in Dallas. So if you were in town and you were up for the young offense that the Mustangs have put together, you were one-sidedly impressed.
And Dean Burkhart in particular in this one. 170 yards and 3 touchdowns receiving.
On 10 catches, so 30% of his catches were touchdowns.
That is incredible. Granted, it's against UTEP, but that doesn't take away from it as much.
No, I mean, I know UTEP's not a good team, but I think when you get your first chance, as was Burkhart's first chance as a number one guy, to make the most of it and put this performance out, that's going to be a huge confidence booster for Dean Burkhart going forward.
Just his offense in general looks really nice, and we're saying most AAC teams are not going to be able to stop this.
No, not many. Especially in the West. I don't know if anyone in the AAC West has a defense.
No. I don't think so either.
So I think we're definitely geared up for a SMU Temple AAC championship game.
Yeah, that is very much likely. Maybe CF can sneak in there? Not entirely sure.
UCF is the only one who could upset Temple in my mind.
Yeah, it's going to be a two-team race up there.
We'll have to see it.
Eastern State. Who is Eastern State?
Yeah, no, this is.
You can just ignore the same general.
Yeah, there's really not much to go off in this one. SMU's offense looked great as always. Defense held out Justin Barksdale.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really not much to say on this one.
I think it was from the very beginning. Well, actually, from the second quarter, it was the one-sided game. First quarter kind of had a bumpy start. Neither team didn't get much going. But then SMU got going in the second quarter, and that was it.
Yeah, it takes SMU a bit to either keep going, or it takes them a bit to start up and get going, or they start really fast and then slow down a bunch late in the game. We saw that side.
So they don't put together 4 full quarters, what you're saying?
Yes. This one at least put up 3, which is an improvement from last week. Alright. Laramie, Wyoming, Central Michigan visiting the Cowboys, and well, they'll come out with a 14-7 win, but it was not pretty at all.
No. Neither team played especially well on either side of the ball. Well, I think Central Michigan played well in defense, but when you have Walt Sutherland as your quarterback, sometimes you're going to struggle.
Well, I'm actually surprised they struggled as much as they did here. Carr didn't look great on the ground. Sutherland did. Sutherland was lights out on the ground. That's a strong suit. But he hasn't been passing it as much or as well as he was last year. Solid a bit against Michigan State, but this one's more confusing in a way. Central Michigan's going to have to ride this defense, I think. Better saving core, inconsistent offense. But you've got guys like Mordecai Hutchinson hawking that secondary. Nazir Kimbrough, true freshman, getting 2 sacks on the night in this second start. That defense is going to be the life and death of Chippewas, I think.
Do they go bowling this year, in your opinion?
Considering the state of the MAC, I think yes.
What is the state of the MAC? If at least we can go over it.
The MAC East is very bad. The MAC West is a little less bad.
MAC West is going to be a 3-team race as always. Well, I'd say a team and then 2. A team and then 2. You got Toledo and then you got Central and Western Michigan. I have no idea what to think about Eastern Michigan. Just because Tano's gone. No idea what to think about it. Ball State's looked okay. We'll get to them in a bit.
Yeah.
And
Ball State?
Yeah, Ball State. And Northern Illinois seems to be on a severe downslide.
Yeah.
So their competition has been much greater, I'd argue.
Oh, no, they've definitely played a tough out-of-conference schedule, but I think even in MAC play, they're going to struggle.
Yeah. Hopefully those crossover division games. But yeah, I think Central Michigan can eke out 6 wins, maybe 7. All right. And we got one more tonight. It's Utah State, Colorado. The Great Value Ags going to Boulder and did not, scorelines says it all. 34-6 Colorado.
Yeah.
Latavius Murray, 140 yards and a touchdown on 24 carries.
He's gotten off to a pretty good start on the season. And I think at least what I expected, having looked after Colorado's depth chart, was that they were going to struggle offensively. And I felt Murray was going to struggle because I believe he is still a younger player, but he has really performed well.
Yeah, Colorado's off to a better start. The loss of Washington State hurt, obviously, but this is a great way to get right back on track.
Yeah.
And a great confidence booster for Murray. But
defensively, and for Evan Torres as well.
Oh, yeah. I just want to say Evan Torres already looks far better than LJ Offerman did.
Yes.
But defense looks great here as well. You've got a pick 6 from Derek Dennis, and you've got a sack and a safety from Atina Hinaki.
I'd say that's very good, at least defensive performances, and yeah.
Utah State doesn't exactly have a good offense, so it's not hard to look good against them. But it's always good to at least, when you're playing a inferior offense, have that performance. At least know that your defense is capable of that.
Yeah, again, just a really nice confidence booster for Colorado. Yeah, it's about as scripted.
Great.
All right. So,
to
highlight players.
Highlight players. You want to start off, Clem?
Yeah, you know what? I'll take the obvious one. Ryan Harris, quarterback for Fresno State. And I got 350 yards for 3 touchdowns. I mean, Fresno as a team, I think, didn't perform as well as we expected them to. But Ryan Harris brought it, completed roughly 60% of his passes. So, I mean, he did well, and they won.
All right. My pick is going to go to UCF's Tenoris Jackson. He continues to be the bell cow for the Knights offense, and I think he's going to be, in a ways, tearing it up alongside with the AAC East this season, Temple, as well as SMU's team, but they're in the West, so.
I do want to make one quick announcement. Saluna has said games will be up around 8.
Oh.
All right.
So we are in a time bound.
We got.
Okay, we are.
Kick ass.
Let's just go ahead and cut those discussions out. We can save those for next week.
Yes.
Yes. All right.
So this might just be a quick recap of the day.
Yeah.
But,
a very quick recap.
Yeah, very quick. I'm gonna go.
We don't have 5 minutes. We have
Half
about
an hour.
30. But yeah, we can.
Just real quick, having missed the obvious, Noel Minor. Come on, guys. 145 yards, 4 touchdowns. Uncoached, so I love it. I just love it. That kid's good.
We also missed Dean Burkhart, had 170 receiving yards, 3 touchdowns. I think
yes, that's true.
Friday night has some very one-sided performances.
Yep.
Yeah, I wasn't impressed with the slate Friday night, but hey, it's football. You gotta love it.
No, agreed.
All right.
Hoping for more game day signs to be showing up. It'd be awesome. If not, happy birthday, Jumbo.
Happy birthday, Jabu.
Very happy birthday, man.
My second favorite member of the Jets organization.
Win tonight. All right. What was the next on the docket? That was a quick look at tonight's games. All right, we can start to this. Name one game that you're really looking forward to seeing too. Let's start with Tuscany.
All right, I'm not going to include my own matchup with Auburn because that'd be a bit of a bias. And outside of game day, one matchup that I do, I guess I'm looking towards is Clemson and Pittsburgh. It was going to be our other selection for game day, but we ultimately went with Iowa State and Oregon for this one. Jalen Armstrong and Marquise Reed are going to continue to fire up for the Tigers, and I think this would have been a very good matchup to see how the ACC will look in conference, at least in this case. Pittsburgh is also another really good team, and I'm trying to get my stats. Yeah. So I think it would have been a good matchup to see and observe.
Yeah, that's going to be a really nice cross-division matchup. Could be critical in the Atlantic, considering the state of Florida State and Boston College.
It could actually determine who wins each division.
Yeah, losers have a setback regardless.
It's that big of a matchup for the ACC.
All right, Clem, your big one tonight.
Outside the game of the week and outside of Clemson, Pittsburgh, I will take LSU and Missouri. I think LSU right now is a little overrated, and I think Missouri is a little underrated. I think they're a little closer than the rankings would appear. Tucker Dowden does literally everything for Missouri. I'm really excited to see him go up against his LSU defense. So yeah, I think that'll be a really good matchup. I actually think Mizzou should be a little bit favored in that game.
I would not be surprised at a Mizzou Tiger upset. I just don't have a feel for LSU yet. Tuscan, I will go with the Baylor-Auburn game.
All right.
I think it's a premier matchup of running backs, much like our game of the week. Sean Bell from Baylor, we all know him. We all love him. He is fantastic on the ground.
Yeah.
Got some nice players around him, too. Schwartz at quarterback is really reliable. For Auburn, it's post-Jez Durant, but Jermaine Luckett seemed to pick up where he left off against Clemson, actually doing what Durant couldn't do against the Tigers and rush for 100 yards. So, much like the Charlotte game, I see you shaking your head there. Much like the Charlotte game, this is going to be a nice ground-based battle, I feel.
Yep. Indeed. Yep.
Yeah, both teams have good running backs and solid rushing quarterbacks, so we'll see a lot of running in this game.
Yep. And man, my guys like to run on the track, and I make them run on the track, and then I make them run on the field. So,
All right, let's.
I gotta take a
Flyers.
real quick break. I'll be right back. You guys continue.
All right. Dustin, we're going to fly over to the Saturday morning games.
Yep.
Got to get through these. And we're going to start in Columbia, South Carolina. We've got Columbia, Missouri later tonight. The Temple Owls coming off a 2-point loss to Minnesota. They rebounded quite nicely, going into Williams-Brice and coming out 38-21 win. J.J. Robinson, Ricky Lewis showing up as expected. 21 for 29, 284 yards and 3 touchdowns for Robinson. 105 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground for Ricky Lewis.
Yeah. I'd say if you're not high for Temple right now, you should be totally. And so,
Almost 2 hours. Still too much.
all right. I'm gonna just
Don't put her
cover
out.
up
If you're worried
the
about her,
audio at the
go right
moment.
now. And she was passed
Temple, I think they should at least be ranked, or at least start getting votes if they haven't yet. They've been performing really well, and they did have that close loss with Minnesota. Bingo even mentioned in the comments that it should be noted that Temple should be ranked. South Carolina didn't really do so well outside of Kenny Ames and Tristan Jensen, but also Ames didn't really look that good. So I don't know.
Yeah, South Carolina's offense just doesn't look great. Condon in the air is not reliable at all. 2 picks here. And Kenny Ames is kind of an unknown, I feel. Didn't look absolutely terrible, but much to be desired. I just feel like Temple completely dominated this game. Quick note, this is the first time that I've seen a Temple receiver get over 100 yards. Lamont Crawford, 102 yards and 2 touchdowns. Just Temple absolutely controlled this game.
I feel better.
Good. Any quick thoughts on Temple, South Carolina, Clem?
South Carolina can recruit but not coach, and Temple can recruit and coach, so they win.
That's putting it accurately, I feel. All right.
Good job, Alien.
Let's talk about this next one as little as possible. State goes to Tallahassee. Battle of Undefeateds.
I do want to mention one thing. For game day, we have a prep sheet, and on it we put the scores of games that have happened. And for NC State score, it's just a frowny face.
And so with that, I just put null.
Yeah. Just Florida State dominated every facet of this game. Elijah Harden, absolutely phenomenal. Almost broke 200 yards here. 192 yards and 3 touchdowns and only 26 carries. I will say the one positive I can take from this is Kamari Cheatham kept Luke Cobb out of end zone.
I mean, he still gave up 90 yards.
Yeah, still gave him 90. Yeah, but no touchdown there. Take it. I'll take it.
All right.
We're bad.
While we're on game day, I do want to bring up one thing. Nicholas Singer and Deshaun Starks for Florida State should have a touchdown each in their stats. They do not.
Yes, that is very important to note.
Yeah. If you look on the bright side, or at least look with this, y'all did improve on the last NC State shutout by 40 points. So that's when it's.
It was only 38 points that they improved by.
Cut him some slack. I held him under 50. I'll take it.
And we were talking earlier about topics we should talk about in addition to the games. We brought up dark horse for Heisman. My dark horse guy is Elijah Harden, the running back for FSU. He's having a fantastic season, had an amazing day today, and I think he'll continue to lead the offense going forward. I think he should be a Heisman candidate in the season.
I agree. He is the signature piece on an offense. But like Benjamin Schuyler, Luke Cobb cannot be dismissed. So game playing against the Noles, yikes.
Yeah, it's not fun. Florida State with the running game is not fair.
Just like IRL Florida State, I feel. But what is fun is watching Oklahoma rack up a bunch of points.
Yes, that's always fun.
If you're a non-Big 12 fan.
Or if
Graham
you just don't
Burnett,
like Buffalo.
I don't understand. Wouldn't hate Buffalo. I don't understand why you hate Buffalo. But
2008 IRL MAC championship game. That's why I hate Buffalo.
I know what you're referring to. Rip undefeated.
That one.
Yep.
Alright.
Yep.
Well, let's focus on what Oklahoma did to the Buffs in New York. Graham Burnett, 389 yards and 4 touchdowns. Maurice White on the ground, 2 touchdowns, 121 yards. You got a forced fumble and recovery from David Jackson, who also got a sack on Coates. You got 2 fumbles, actually, from his defense on Mamadou Wynn, who did break 100 yards, did reach the end zone twice, but those fumbles are killer. That's been his problem throughout his career.
He's also been the focal point of the offense since he was a true freshman. So he's a guy who's had a ton of pressure on him since he was 18 to carry this offense and try to win games. So I think we cut him some slack for that.
Yeah, he's definitely the main man on campus, and he's contributed a lot to the Buffs.
He's been their offense for years.
Yeah, and still got 4.2 yards per carry in this one. So, like, he had a good game sans the fumbles.
Mm-hmm.
It's just this is Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Can't turn the ball over.
No.
All right. Ahe Salanoa, 109 yards and a touchdown, 5 receptions. So he had a pretty good game for the Sooners. Just absolute roughshed in Buffalo.
No, this wasn't very fair.
Shall we flip to the next game?
Do you want to bring up one thing real quick? Oklahoma had an offensive line rating of just 6.0.
And they didn't give up any sacks. I'll note that.
But still having a rating of 6.0 against a MAC team when you're, number 15 in the country, that's not good performance from that unit.
That could be signs of bad things to come.
Oklahoma does have some good skill players, but their offensive line rating, as you mentioned, their offensive line in general isn't really that good. Their right guards and right tackles, I think I might be talking about the right team. They aren't at least as sharp as on their left side. So just pointing out.
Yeah, that's going to be a problem in Big 12, especially against like Kansas and Iowa State. Well, against like Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
All right, going to College Park, Maryland, the winless Terps able to knock off Miami in a game considered an upset by some. I'm personally not surprised.
I wouldn't call it an upset.
You would or would not?
I would not.
Yeah. Miami is not good. They've got one of the best players in the country right now in Brett Fisher, but he's got nothing around him.
He has. He's the fullback Richard Holt playing behind him, who's done fairly well in that capacity, but he's got no one to throw to. No one. He has probably one of the worst receiving. No, he has the worst receiving core in the ACC without a doubt. So, he's gonna run over everybody. We know that. We're gonna expect that. But for him to pass well, to kind of balance the offense a little bit, it's not gonna work out.
Yep, it's going to be a long year for Miami, and if they keep trying this. But Fisher on the ground was unstoppable. 157 yards and 3 touchdowns. They need more of that.
And those touchdowns were 19 yards, 23 yards, and 38 yards. They're all big plays, big yardage gains. And no matter who you're playing, those are usually morale devastators and will crush the heart of defense. But fortunately for me, Maryland was able to hold through and win the game.
And, Samir Hatcher didn't look bad. 83 yards and 2 scores. Marquis Simpkins looked competent for once.
No interceptions. Yeah.
Didn't turn over. A couple touchdown passes to Israel Ellis and Rocco Fay, which is a cool name. got 2 sacks from the defense here. Actually, teams just traded 2 sacks. So, yeah, Maryland gets their first win of the year, and it's against a ranked team. Though they probably shouldn't be ranked, I'd say. But
No, they definitely should not be ranked.
yeah.
Another very bad offensive line performance from Maryland, 4.2 rating.
Yikes.
I did not think their offensive line was that bad.
What's going on? What's going on with these teams? At least with the offensive line ratings.
I feel like as a whole, offensive line ratings are down this year.
Yeah.
Could just be defensive lines getting better. Because I've noticed quite a few great performances off the line.
Yeah. It could also be a combination of that and replacing new players kind of everywhere kind of leads to a chemistry hit, especially early in the season. That I think we'll see to lower offensive line ratings now as compared to like week 12.
Yeah.
That's true.
They should look better later down the line. Yeah, congrats to Maryland pulling off the upset. Syracuse looked to do the same against Georgia. Didn't actually miss it by that much.
No. This was a pretty surprising performance by Hughes in a positive way. I kind of expected Georgia to handle this team a little bit. And Hughes went out there on the road, didn't flinch, didn't hide, came right at the Bulldogs and almost pulled it off.
Yeah, that fumble in the first. Oh, this game went to overtime.
Yeah, went to overtime.
I didn't notice that at first. Yeah, Dylan Bishop leading the Orange here. Kept it close. Sent the game to overtime. It's just Giovanni Coley. He's not that great of a running back. I noticed it earlier. Tom Woodball, game over. But this is a very inspiring performance if you're Syracuse, or a very concerning performance if you're Georgia.
I think it's both.
I think it could be both.
I mean, I think the issue with Georgia's offense is Salvatore Tanner is just not very good.
Yeah. It wasn't great last year. Didn't look good in this one. Didn't turn the ball over, but unable to find any receivers for touchdown. The offense is going to run through Isaac Wilson as usual, or whoever they have at running back.
And that's Georgia's thing, is that they run the ball. They like to pound it.
And with an offensive line rating of 8.0, yeah, they're going to pound it.
You can, yeah.
Yeah, defense.
You know that the scope, at least, I'm just reiterating, so never mind.
Alright, good. Yeah. Syracuse, better or worse than advertised from the opening game against Western Kentucky?
You can't use Western Kentucky as a benchmark for a team. You can't. I would say Dylan Bishop has played fairly well outside of Western Kentucky. I know he had interception today, but he still had 244 passing yards and touchdown, and then averaged 10 yards a carry rushing. So he's still doing work.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, what was I saying? Is this offense going to be a reliable one? Which it appears that it is.
I wouldn't call it reliable with Giovanni Coley as a running back.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a primarily run-first team that threw a lot today, but I think throughout the season they'll run a little more. But Coley just is not a very good running back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A lot of the offense does go through Bishop as well, and he's kind of really he's really doing well as a dual threat. So even if the team's not being as reliable, at least catching the ball in the air, Bishop can still make those plays to just go downfield. Like there's 5 yards for 53 rushing shows what he's capable of doing.
Yeah.
And they do a fairly solid defense. You got Noah Tubbs, you got Bradley Nunn, you got Chance McKenzie. You've got some playmakers on that defense that can make plays, in the fourth quarter, overtime, or whatever it is, to help you win. So I think with that defense and Dylan Bishop, they have a chance to win most games.
Yeah. We are at 15 minutes before the evening games go. So we're gonna try to at least, I would say, speed up or
Yeah,
do
we
our
gotta.
best.
Let's just do quick takes on the rest of these games.
Yeah.
Uh, Tennessee UCF Vols win 31-3 at home. I'd say it's about as expected. Julius Thomas played well. Charles Seth looked,
Good.
yeah,
Stephen
good.
Curran, too.
Just overall great performance from the Vols.
Anthony Miller with another sack, of course.
Well, that's expected. Offensive line looked good.
Oh,
Conversion
8.1 for Tennessee. It was amazing.
Just dominating every facet of the game. One thing to note, though, Johnny Taylor did break 100 yards, so he seems to be doing a lot better than I'd expect.
For sure.
All right, anything else here?
I think that's about it, really. Sorry, Sage, we just bent over your team, but it wasn't a very interesting game.
Punt
You
block
did
for
good.
return.
No, you did good.
You did good, kid.
All right, why are you going to Hartford fellow stores? Anyways, knocking
Yeah.
off UConn 31-24. And what I thought was kind of a surprise.
They also got 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. Shut out UConn in the fourth quarter, outscored them 14-0 to win the game.
Yeah, Levi Klein and Lucas Bean filling in for Charlie. What is it? Yeah, Charlie Walter and Baz Van Dyke.
Bass Van Dyke, yes. Yeah.
Overall, very surprising performance from the Rainbow Warriors. Didn't stop Marshawn Miller.
You're never going to stop Marshawn Miller.
Yeah.
All you want to do is hold him under 5 yards to carry, keep him off the end as much as possible, and force Mackay Stewart to pass, which is what I think Hawaii did in the fourth quarter was contain Miller and force Stewart to pass, and that's a way to beat UConn.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, this Hawaii offense has been interesting so far, I'd say. Levi Klein doing a really nice job filling in for Van Dyke. Back-to-back 99-yard games. Got a couple here. Yeah, they might be a dangerous team in the Mountain West.
I think they can probably upset just about anyone. They're a wild card week in and week out to make everything interesting in the MWC.
Has been the case for years. New faces, same style. All right, Georgia State Louisville, another kind of a dud of a game with the exception of Evan Grant, just being Evan Grant. The sophomore, 144 yards and a touchdown, 24 carries. I like this guy.
Yeah. It helps that they're playing Louisville, who is a very bad team right now. They are, at best, they're average at just about every position. At
They
best,
are average.
so they're below average. So they're going to struggle this year. I think 3 wins for Louisville would be a good season.
All right, not much to look at here. Pair of interceptions to Georgia State defense. Yeah, you want to go to afternoon games real quick? Can I have to actually?
Yeah.
All right, quick takes on Miami, Ohio, and New Mexico. Tom Stacey Tom Stacey just demolished Miami offense or defense, please.
Viva los Lobos.
That's about all I can say, really.
Yeah.
His completion percentage is still wildly off, but that's kind of to be expected from him, especially throwing 43 times a game. He's not that great of a quarterback to do that. But against Miami, it works.
His yard per completion is not bad, but
Yeah.
his yard per attempt isn't very good.
Yeah. I've been riding this horse for a while. He's not that great of a quarterback, in my opinion, but
No.
hey, he fits in New Mexico. It's working. So, all right, TCU Texas is a game I really would spend a lot of time on normally, but we don't have that time. We don't have that benefit. Here's TCU putting up some points for you, just for reference.
27. Yeah, but Texas' offense isn't very good. The defense, I mean. They have some playmakers, but on the whole, there's just a down year for Texas everywhere. I'm very surprised at this outcome.
At how
At first off, how many points Texas scored, and the fact that TCU lost this game, I'm very surprised at.
Yeah. Nathan Burden had a negative rushing yardage. That's kind of sad to say. But
Well,
he does have a
that's
fumble.
partially because of 2 sacks.
Yeah. And probably the fumble.
Yeah, that's probably why he's even on stat sheet to begin with on rushing. He's got no one to throw to, but he has to lead the offense because they don't have a running back right now, really.
Yeah.
So this TCU offense is just an absolute mess.
Yeah, it's sad, really.
And you would think TCU scoring 27 points should be way more than enough points to help them win, but the TCU defense did not show up today at all. And when your defense, we have the talent that defense does, and it doesn't show up, there is something wrong there.
Yeah, they could not stop Simeon Wells on the ground. 120
No.
yards, just. I feel like this is a game TCU should have won, but it was Texas playmakers on defense that really won this game for them.
Yeah.
All right. Purdue, Kent State, really not much to talk about here. Matt Jones looked like a stud. 407 yards, 4 touchdowns.
Absolute stud.
Sheffield looked great too.
Jordan
Defense
Westbrook,
looked great.
2
Yeah.
interceptions. 2 interceptions.
Returned 1 for a touchdown. So he by himself outscored Kent State.
It's what you'd expect from Purdue, and it's a lot more. It's a much more reassuring result than they had against Tulane.
Yes, for sure. The Tulane game was very surprising.
Right. Nebraska, East Carolina. If we had time, I really wanted to rag on Nebraska because I'm kind of sold on them right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Sean Hamilton is finally starting to play like what we would think a 5-star quarterback would play like. Marcus Williams is doing what he's always done. I think right now Nebraska might have 2 legit Heisman candidates on offense. And if they can continue to play like they are played today, it'll be very hard to beat this Nebraska team.
Yes. Really not much to say here other than Sean Hamilton, Marcus Williams blew up the stage. And keep your eye on this team. They are dangerous.
Even after losing their top 3 receivers to the draft.
Yes.
Top 3.
3. Taylor Eifert, Rashad Azuma, Tyrone McGee all got drafted.
Tyrone McGee.
All right.
All right. Florida International and Ole Miss. Anything of importance?
Well, if I'm Ole Miss, I'm concerned that you only beat them by 17, and that your quarterback didn't exactly look good.
Only beat them by 17, and you turned the ball, and you forced 3 turnovers. So,
I mean, defensively they did fine. It's the offense I'm concerned about.
Offensive line rating, garbage.
4.7. Yeah, that's very, very bad.
Ooh, yeah, 2.9, not good, and 4.7 for Ole Miss.
UCLA, Florida Atlantic. Where is this UCLA running game?
Well, John Shanko graduated, so that's where it went.
Pretty much. Out the door. Less than 2 yards carry. That's concerning against FAU.
Yeah, FAU, yeah.
Very disappointing result here. Even though they got the win by, 17?
17, yeah, 17 again.
Be concerned. UCLA does not look like the team they looked like last year.
No, I think they lost quite a bit of talent, and they lost their coach. So I think that's all gonna combine together to make a bad 2019.
Yeah, but they still got the W, so I guess that's what.
That's all that matters at the end of the day is if you win.
Exactly.
Yes.
Those Bruin fans are still happy, and they still hate USC. So. Yep.
All right. UAB, California. Cal just blew UAB away. Rushing defense looked so much better than Bama's. Yeah, you can do that.
Yep.
Unfazed. JB Blacknell still work 100 here, so there's a plus. But overall, Cal just took the day.
Dude, I can't wait to see JB Blacknell go against CUSA defenses. He's gonna tear them apart.
It can't come soon enough. All right, but very, very impressive performance from Cal. You got Hakeem Black, 207 yards receiving.
3 touchdowns. 3 touchdowns.
Wow,
That is receiving.
that is reliant on one receiver. I'll let you know.
Could this be our player of the week potentially? I mean,
Yes,
that's
him or
pretty good.
Noel Minor.
Like even if it's against a Conference USA team, 207, 3 touchdowns per receiver. Dang.
Yeah, I feel like the top 3 players on our watch list this week played against the USA teams: Minor, Black, and Burkhart. But moving on here, Raheem Robinson had a really good day, but Oklahoma State barely survives Ball State.
That's because Ball State doesn't quit. They never give up.
I like this Ball State team. Austin
Marquise,
Wallace
Casey, Causey, I don't know how you pronounce that. Doesn't matter. 180 passing yards, 33 rushing yards. Austin Laws, unstoppable on the ground, 2 touchdowns. Come at me, OK State.
Yeah, and it's weird is Oklahoma State looked really good. 307 yards, 3 touchdowns from Brenner. 2 of those went to Raheem. Defense had 2 interceptions. Why is it so close? Probably the offensive line, maybe. Yeah.
That's offensive line, lack of running game. That's definitely going to be part of it. Plus, Ball State doesn't quit.
Yeah, this is why I want to look at Ball State. Austin Laws is a name you should know. He's good. He's good. What's also good is Illinois getting their 2nd win of the year, which is kind of unheard of. 2-0.
Well, I mean, they used to be pretty solid back in the Smoking Cricket days when they had Ezekiel Adams.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they're just riding the defense this year. Second half from David Hendrickson, interception from Logan Holmes. Stanford just could not get anything going, and Illinois took it. Simple as that.
What is happening with Stanford?
They haven't really been good.
Okay, this sounds
terrible recruiting. All the good players graduating.
And just now getting a coach that might be there a little longer.
A real coach.
A real coach.
ALWL was there forever, but he just didn't really care. So he didn't really put that much effort into it. He just kind of won games somehow.
Alright, also congrats to Stanford for being the first team to get 5 players from the defense on the stat sheet.
Yeah, I saw that. 5 defensive players.
Alright. So that'll be all for that. We can quickly fly through some predictions here. I wish we could talk a bit more, but these games come out, guys. Get hype. Get hype indeed. Alright, so in this order, it's going to be Tuscan, Clem, myself. Let's start with Boston College, Notre Dame. Tuscan, go.
All right, Boston College, Notre Dame. I'm going to go with Boston College.
Clem?
I'll go BC as well.
Give me BC in a really close game. I like how Notre Dame matches up. Clemson, Pitt, go.
All right, Clemson.
I'll take Clemson in the nail biter.
Sorry, birthday boy.
I'll take Pitt in the nail biter. I think Pitt runs. Through them. Might be inspired by Jermaine Lockett. Florida, Washington.
All right. Oh shoot. I have Washington.
Yeah, I'll take Washington in a close one.
I think Washington in a close one too. But watch out for Jaden Grant. He's going to look good. He might look good. Yeah. Alabama, Georgia Tech in Atlanta.
All right. I am going to go with Tech.
Dumb.
Really?
In some kind of miraculous upset that could happen, I'm just going to throw it out there. I'm probably wrong.
Right, Clem?
I'm going Bama by at least 3 touchdowns.
I'm going Bama by at least 4 touchdowns. But Tuscan, we're not going to see many touchdowns tonight between Beckett and Swanson.
I promise you I've not been drinking.
Beckett's not going to become a god overnight, as you state here.
That was me.
That was you?
Yeah, that's the only way they win is if Beckett becomes a god overnight. And Swanson gets open somehow.
Marquise Mariota.
LSU, Missouri, in Columbia.
I'm going with Mizzou.
Clem?
I'll take LSU just barely. Probably overtime.
Going to my gut here, I think Mizzou takes it. Very close, though. Baylor, Auburn, Tuscan, you can't pick this one.
I know, I can't. I don't make myself do this either.
Yeah. Clem?
I'll take Baylor. I like what they bring to the table. Auburn lost quite a bit. I don't really trust Jory Kessler as a quarterback, so I'll take Baylor.
See, I do trust Kessler as a quarterback, more so than most other scramblers. But Sean Bell, you can't stop him. And Kyle Cunningham will nullify whatever Kessler does bring. So give me Baylor here. And Texas Tech, Arizona, a game of winless teams, Saturday evening.
I think I'm going with Tech.
I'm gonna go Zona. They're bringing out a new quarterback, so I'll go with Sam Parrish to try and get the win for Zona.
Give me the Tech defense in this one. I think Red Raiders are going to contain Parrish and Strong. I'm not sold on Arizona one bit. And now we have the game of the week, the Iowa State Cyclones at 2-0 visiting the Ducks, who are also at 2-0. We've got a huge running back showdown with Arturo Pacheco against Trevon Yeldon.
All right.
What are your thoughts here, Tuscan?
I mean, Iowa State's good. Can Oregon pull the upset? I don't know. That's what I want to find out. I kind of want to see how Cade would celebrate if Oregon were to win. So I'm going to go with Oregon for this one.
All right, Clem?
I'm taking a little bit more time because games haven't been posted yet, but I like what Iowa State brings on offense. They bring a good trio of players, and Oldham, Wilcox, and Pacheco. They're incredibly difficult to stop, especially when Wilcox is being efficient passing and not turning the ball over. But Oregon has Eric Jennings and Christian Okonkwo on that defensive line, and they are going to literally kill Clifford Wilcox tonight. I think Trevon Yeldon, the Iowa State defense is not very good, especially the front seven is not good. I think he'll get 150 yards, 2 touchdowns. I think Oregon wins by about 10.
All right. Running games are going to be big here, but I think the passing game of Iowa State is to be of note here. Tom Olden, really great receiver. Clifford Wilcox has a wonderful connection with him. A thing to note, Oregon is starting Henry Montgomery at cornerback. He is a free safety. That secondary does not look great. I think we're going to see a little more of Wilcox and Oldham. Iowa State's defense is bad. This is going to be a shootout. Give me the Cyclones. 4-point game. Both teams scoring 40. It's going to be a barn burner, but I like Iowa State. And, yeah.
Time to click refresh a few times, I guess, or whenever someone is ready. We're ready.
All right, let's see. Do we have games yet?
Nope. You said around 8.
Yeah.
So that could mean 8. It could mean 8:30.
So
9.
Expansion. Kidding. We don't have to talk about it. We talked about it last week, so.
About what?
You weren't here for this, but last week we did. One of our topics was Big 12 expansion from CFBHC standpoint. So we were talking about the Convoy potentially, and
that would be good.
Yeah.
Good team to bring in.
I would love to see that. Just scrolling through stuff, see if we got anything. Looks like we might have time to talk a bit about Heisman's for a bit.
Oh, God. Okay.
Maybe.
I'm not prepared.
I mean, I'm prepared for playoff outlook.
Yeah, we can look at playoff outlook.
Yeah.
All right, let's go with that. We're just swinging at this point, like we always do. All right, so over the course of the day, we developed a quick thoughts on what the watch should look like. I'm going to give you a Tuscan here.
Should I at number 8 or?
Yeah.
All right, I had Clemson making it at number 8. Part of this was updated from the outlook that I had last week, but we never really had time to look it over. But by this point, Clemson is a phenomenal team, and I think at number 8 they make it at least to that elite, at least among these elite teams that could make it into the playoff, at least in my opinion. So.
Right. Pop on over to Clem.
Number 8, I got Purdue. I really like what Purdue brings on offense. Defensively, they had struggle against Tulane, but I like what they can do, especially against Big Ten West. I believe they're in the West, so I like what Purdue brings, and I think they can sneak in there at the number 8 spot.
I also threw in a Big Ten team, but it's not Purdue, it's not Ohio State, and it's not Michigan. It is Nebraska. I really like what Nebraska brings to the table. They look a lot more solidified than they did last year. That's without their top 3 receivers. I feel like this team is looking like what they should have looked like last year. And whether that's a year too late, we're yet to see. But right now, Nebraska looks as good as anybody. All right. Back to you, Tuscan.
All right, number 7, Minnesota. I think this is the year that Bingo finally makes it into the playoffs. So.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I threw Clemson there at number 7. I think they're a very talented team, especially defensively. If Jamel Armstrong can get his stuff figured out, they will be a playoff team for sure.
Well, I will reveal my number 7 when we continue this discussion, because we have evening games.
Oh shit!
Let's go and take a look at Boston College Notre Dame. We've got a solid performance from Randy Roberts, and BC takes it 28-10. What are your thoughts on this one, guys?
Kind of what we expected, really.
Yeah. Tyler Davis. Quick thing to note: Tyler Davis doesn't have the touchdown show up on the stat sheet, but he did pick off Owen Sorensen and take it to the house to close out the game.
All right, guys, I got a boogie.
Oh yeah. It was end game day here, guys.
Oh, I forgot. I'm hosting. I can't just boogie out on you guys. Sorry.
I think it's just best end game day here since we've got all that done.
Okay.
Right. So this has been Posture Coaster, Tuscan Soda, and MP Clem from Eugene, Oregon. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you next week.
Take it easy, y'all.
Bye. Sorry for leaving like this.
It's okay. We'll miss you.